Hello, dear perceptive souls. This is Bevan Neiman, and I am a life purpose coach and intuitive career mentor for empaths, lightworkers, and mystics. And what really wanted to flow through today was this profound shift that I am seeing in the clients that I work with, in the empath community as a whole. There are many who come into a knowing of their empathic intuitive gifts, and perhaps they have a little hesitation. They feel that they're just a beginner. They're not sure that they're practiced enough to step into leadership or into their life purpose. And what I'll say is that you are stronger and more powerful and more capable than you give yourself credit for. And today's reading really just highlights this in such a big way. I love what's coming out here. I can't wait to share it with you. Let's get started. So when I first learned about being an empath, there were many of us who were in this place, and I was definitely in this place. I would call myself an isolated hermit for many years of my life, and just kind of peeking out at the world. I mean, there were things that I was very involved in, but mostly at the end of the day, I would come home and just be at home by myself and didn't have a lot of friends and just didn't feel like I fit into this world. I was just in that place of feeling isolated and misunderstood, and like there wasn't anyone I could connect with. And I think that when we've gotten into that place, and it's okay if you're in that place or you've been in that place, we tend to hold on to a particular viewpoint of our identity. Like, this is exactly who I am, and this is what I am destined to be, and here's how I'm going to be. And there's like no other vision for what could happen. And part of the reason is that it's probably likely, as an empathic soul, that you have sacrificed. You have sacrificed your time, your energy, your money, your attention for relationships perhaps that weren't a reciprocal exchange. So you see here that we have the fours, the double fours, and this is meant to be a reciprocal exchange, the infinity loop, the giving and receiving. And yet often we sacrifice ourselves to the point where we're completely depleted. We've given more to a particular person or a job or a situation than we're receiving back from that. And we actually start to feel guilty because we don't want to ask for things. We don't want to ask for help. We don't want to receive. It's hard to receive compliments. It's hard to receive financial abundance, for example, if you're in the spirituality field. All kinds of ways that this can show up. And so we hold ourselves, we're like, I'm in this sort of martyr rescuer mode. And it's probably likely, if you're highly intuitive, that there was a time when you did not trust yourself. Here's the card. Beautiful, amazing card. I mean, just look at all of this that she has. She has all of this wisdom and knowledge and all of these different characteristics that are, right there for her. And yet this came up in reverse. So we get into this place where we get this intuitive knowing, or we sense and see and notice a synchronicity, and then we're just like, oh, well, we dismiss it, right? And then we don't have access to all of this. When we shut that down, we can't possibly allow ourselves to flow with what really wants to happen for us. And we're a little nervous, even though we feel like we're always like odd or different. Here's the against the grain card. Love this card. These are actually birds that are flying underneath the ocean. So it's like completely different, right? But here's the against the grain card, upside down again, right? So if we're flowing against the grain, this is a 4, so it'd be fairly stable. It's just something like we're secure in ourselves. We know who we are. But in reverse, this says, I'm just going to try to fit in. I'm going to conform. I'm going to keep silent. I'm going to hold myself back, right? And there's good reasons for this. There was good reasons for it when I did that as well. And it hasn't always been an easy journey for me to come out and be public and to be on videos and be on summits and do the things that I've done, because a lot of times, we start to absorb everything from the world around us. So here's like all the chaos, right, from the world around us. And then it just feels like we're on fire inside. It just feels like all this energy, and we get drained and depleted. You see how gray this is here. It's just kind of closing in. And until we start to learn how to master our energy field, and you might think, wow, that sounds really complicated. It sounds really difficult. It's actually, it is a process. I'm not going to say it's just like snap and you can do it, but it is also something that you can use some very simple practical tools, and you can very quickly learn how to shift your mindset, how to shift your emotional aspects when they come up, how to shift the energy field in your body. Like, there's ways that you are powerful beyond your knowing. This is really power, right? This is power. And this really speaks to the fact that we need to be rooted and grounded a lot more than what we are. Someone asked me a question this last week, if I was more grounded into the earth and more grounded in the present, would that mean that it would sort of turn off my third eye? Would it be like, um, you know, uh, a closing of that experience? And what I said is, no. In my experience, being more grounded, putting your feet in the earth, taking a nap, just getting yourself into your body, dancing, listening to music, walking in nature, being really present here in this moment. These are things that actually allow us to open this, right? Because when we're ungrounded, we're just sort of running around doing things, just and then when we're grounded, we're like, okay, I'm centered, I'm calm. Okay, now I can open. I'm rooted. I'm not going to fly away, right? There was a lot of times when I did. I just flew away, was out of body, was, off in the ethers, off in some fantasy world. I'm really great at that as well. And so it was really important for me to learn how to do that, how to get rooted and grounded. And you see here that this person is really expressing the root chakra and the sacral and the solar plexus. It's like the lower parts of their energy system need to be activated in order for this to begin to open. For this could either be like chaos in the world, or this could be the Kundalini rising, right? It could be the rising up of that spiritual energy. And so every journey begins with a single step. Right? The 3 energy means that we're stepping forward. And what we do is we carry everything that we've done before with us. And you see there's a light just shining out, a little crack here. And it's beautiful because everything you've ever done, whether you thought it was like really mundane or whether you thought it was spiritually transcendent, like up here, everything you've ever done brought you to the place where you are right now. And you carry all that forward. You have immense wisdom and knowledge. And it's really time for you to begin acknowledging this about yourself, to begin honoring this about yourself, so that you can not only change your life and get into a place where you're thriving, right? Where you're making choices, where you're living life from a lit up place from within, even when things are swirling around us. And I'm not talking about spiritual bypassing. I'm not talking about doing that all the time. I'm saying most often you're really joyous to get up every day. You're joyous to go to work. You're joyous to have the relationships that you have in your life. How do you move into that space, right? So the journey begins with the first step. And this means acknowledging that, you're not really normal. I mean, you're normal for an empath. You're normal for a highly sensitive person or an intuitive person or a light worker or a mystic. And the ability to go beyond normal, to really tap into this higher self-knowledge, right? And bring that into the third eye and then down into the throat. This is what I'm doing right now, is bringing this through. You're meant to speak out. You're meant to write. You're meant to create. You're meant to draw or paint or dance or coach or consult or whatever it is that you're meant to do. Invent something amazing, like something that people haven't thought about before, some way of navigating the world that it starts to address not only our current challenges that we're having, but also where we're going, having this deep vision for where we're going. Maybe you want to reforest, the rainforests in the world, or maybe you want to find cures for medical illness, or different ways of developing and structuring our medical system that's more holistic. Whatever you're passionate about, this is about you deciding to step out of kind of this mainstream, like, here's how it always has been, right? And going beyond normal. And that requires you to really honor and tap into the part of yourself that can do this shamanic journeying into the upper world. The upper world is the spirit realm, right? This is where we get our wings. I had this beautiful dream, vision, time shift, dimension shift. I don't know what you would call it, when I was about 7 years old. And I was taken to this place where everyone had wings, right? Everyone had wings. And they came, and I was just a young little squirt, right? And they like put the wings between the shoulder blades on my back. And they said, okay, you're going to fly. You know how to fly. You already know how to do this, right? And I was like, I don't know. And so I tried to fly, and I was kind of wobbling and wobbling. And they're like, no, just let go. And you already know how to do this. And they were right. As soon as I did, as soon as I relaxed, as soon as I just thought about where I wanted to fly, how I wanted to soar and glide and dive and then flap up to flap up into the portal here, I could do it without any effort whatsoever. And I remember having this experience when I was 7 years old and going, okay, I don't really want to go back to Earth. And ironically, I've actually had some pain between my shoulder blades for a long time. And I'm like, recently I'm like, I think my wings are missing. Like, where are my wings? And really, energetically speaking, we already have these. We already have these. So you may think, okay, I'm here. How could I possibly get here, right? But you are already this. You're already this. It's just a recognition of that. It's a real mindset shift. I've seen so many posts on empath groups and communities where people are like, I'm overwhelmed and this and that. And there's truth to all of that, right? I'm a sponge for everybody's stuff. And why do I attract narcissists and all these challenges, that are very real in the moment when we're having them. And yet we have a choice. We have a choice of whether we look at the world as dangerous, if we look at ourselves as fragile, if we look at ourselves as unable to go out and function. We're not only able to function, we're actually able to lead. We're actually able to role model. We're actually able to take initiative and be the ones that other people look to. We came here with some beautiful gifts that are meant to awaken in every single human soul on earth. And we just happen to awaken them earlier. This is my personal viewpoint. And so when we start to honor this part of ourselves that has wings, that can go through that portal is really saying, okay, I'm going to move beyond what I've always thought myself to be. I've always thought myself to be this, but maybe I'm really this. Maybe I'm really expansive. And when we do that, when we get into this heart energy, right, this beautiful heart energy and all this activation, and we receive all these messages coming in, and we start to understand, each one of us, what we're here for. What's the reason that we came here? How are we meant to contribute? It's just such a beautiful realization, but it takes getting quiet, getting still, bringing yourself into this place, disconnecting perhaps from outside influences and outside energies, and just making time every day to get quiet and to be within. You see, it's almost like this heart that gets surrounded here, right? There's the high heart, and then there's the heart that surrounds the entire crown that goes up into the higher knowing. And then we blossom, right? We blossom. I mean, look at the energy coming off of this card. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous card. And she's on her way, right? So if we start her here, like, she's on her way. She's like, I am moving and grooving. I'm taking action. I'm ready to go. I have this beautiful blossom here and all of this, crown and third eye activation. This is who I really am. This is the brilliance of who I am. Some people might call this the divine spark. I was talking to a friend tonight, and we were talking about the divine spark. You know, the divine spark could be at the heart, could be up here in the mind. It might move around for all that we know, but it is your eternal self, your powerful eternal self. And what came up next was the one of fire. You know, here's the spider, you know, with an egg inside of an egg, right? Ready to hatch. The spider is a weaver. The spider is a storyteller, right? The spider is the one who weaves together the web of consciousness across this planet. And the one of fire is, it's time for us to take action. Like if you look out in the world, you could see that everything's going wrong, that all these things are chaotic. Or you could say, wow, it is all breaking open and we are ready for this new beginning, this new passionate beginning, a new era of consciousness for our planet. And what that requires of you, if we go back to what we were talking about before, these two cards came up, which is the Two of Earth and the 11 of Fire. So the Two of Earth is really about balance, right? So I think this is like balancing your needs on one side and the outside needs of others. You know, it's like making that balance. And the more that you're out in the world, the more time you need for yourself. So this is a really important piece. And being grounded, this is what we're talking about, right? She's very grounded. And she has a lot of activation here at the heart. And then we go into this energy, which is the masculine feminine energy, right? It's our being and our doing. So these two cards are really mirroring each other. One is very grounded and rooted here in the earthly realm, and this is more in the spiritual realm and the realm of action and energy, right? And this comes up over and over. And then for our final card, I love this, and it actually came up in my private community that maybe we begin to start talking about off-world origins, and you know, some people feel like they actually came from another planet, and I have that feeling as well. And maybe there's a particular planet or a star system that you really resonate with, you've always been drawn to, it keeps coming up in conversation or books that you read or on the internet or whatever that is. And this one happens to be the one that comes up for me. This is the Lady of the Stars, which is the Priestess of Sirius, right? So Sirius. And there's amazing meshes. You look at like her energy. So there's a huge, huge difference in the embodiment between a person who's doing this and this, right? There's a huge embodiment. And I'm not saying this is going to be an immediate step, but this is the journey, right? This is the journey. This is the journey I've taken. And now, you know, I'm definitely stepping into this kind of energy. So let me read a little bit from the interpretation of the book before we wrap up today, because I think this is really, really helpful. So it says, Goddess Sirius, through her priestess Lady Isis, is reaching you now. She has offerings of great spiritual support and a message that there is something significant you need to be aware of in your life right now. Accepting celestial assistance in unconditional love of Sirius will help you. To receive the assistance, you can choose to surrender into your heart. So we get into this one, right? Here's surrendering into your heart. And allow divine love to infuse and heal, direct, and unfold all aspects of your life and your growth. It is total trust and surrender with absolute faith that even unexpected twists and turns will lead you in the right direction. So this kind of comes to this card. It's like, okay, I have faith. I'm just going to set off on the journey. I'm going to start to view myself as something different than the way I've always seen. Instead of thinking, well, I'm the oddball, I'm the one that's misunderstood, I can't handle being in public, I can't be online, I can't be seen. What if you challenged those assumptions? What if you began to say, you know, maybe I'm actually more powerful than I really thought I was. Maybe because I know I can tap into this. I know I've been here many, many times, right? I have a sense of the oneness. What if I start to embody that this is who I really am? Advanced souls are capable of feeling and receiving the high vibrational love from the Sirian star system more consciously and consistently. It can come to feel like a perpetual spiritual sun above the crown of your head. So here it is, right? There's the crown and the Sirian sun coming in, right? A lot of people call that the higher self. The mystery school that I studied with called it the higher self of spiritual knowing, right? It's where we actually connect in and receive from the greater consciousness. It can come to feel like a perpetual spiritual sun above the crown of your head, nourishing you with light at all times, causing your own soul light to grow brighter. As you surrender into your heart, your soul light will feel more and more palatable to you. The gift of Sirius flows into the soul like a cup receiving divine nectar. The more aware and connected you are to your soul, the more conscious you will be in recognizing the blessed effects of Sirian light in your life. The priestess Lady Isis wishes to help your soul connect with Sirius and you to connect with your soul so the full blessing of the star goddess can nourish and transform your life, allowing its course to run true to your real and genuine divine passions. Even if you aren't sure yet what those passions are, your soul knows, and Sirian energy helps your soul to be itself on this planet. Sirius brings blessings of heightened intuition, refined healing abilities, and closer connection to your soul. If you've been questioning your evolution, starting to wonder if you're just at the beginning of the path, right? Here's the beginning of the path, or not really in initiation at all, then this card is an acknowledgement of the power, light, and evolution of your soul vibration, that there is advancement and refinement there. You are an advanced and refined soul. You wouldn't have come here with these gifts if you weren't already, if you hadn't built those over lifetimes. That's what this is saying here. This is not grandiose. You know, as empaths, we don't really like to be like bragging, and we don't want that narcissist behavior, right? So we tend to be maybe overly humble, and this is why it's difficult for us sometimes to step in and really take that power and hold our energy and take up space in the world and be confident in ourselves. But we can do it. We absolutely can. In fact, one way to know where this guidance is genuinely for you is that you will feel peaceful and humble as you receive it. You will feel gently validated and affirmed, but not puffed up with false pride or ego. You will feel inspired and uplifted to continue with your inner work, but not a need to tell others how advanced you are spiritually. So this is how you can tell the difference if you are receiving genuine spiritual guidance, whether that is in your belief system, from your home planet, whether you believe that is from divine wisdom, whether you believe that's God, goddess, whatever you call it, source is the one that I like the most. It says, if you feel inflated and better than others in any way, this is not the guidance for you. At least, instead, the guidance for you is to realize you are beautiful, you are worthy, and the part of you that is comparing yourself to others, hoping to find that you are better, is suffering from an emptiness within that doesn't know that you are already beautiful and worthy. It is wiser to spend time filling that inner emptiness with your own acknowledgement of your worth rather than trying to trump over others. Well, that's pretty good information right there, isn't it? Better to go inside the emptiness until you find the seed of love and light than to seek external appearances to make you heal. Right? So this is where, you know, we always ask, like, what is, when do we know when it's a true intuitive download? When do we really know who we are? And this is explaining that if when you receive this knowing, you just feel joyous and humbled by what you were given, the gifts that you were given, when you feel loving and kind, and you know, you're really just in this energy, right? This energy. This person does not need to tell everyone in their brother like how spiritual I am. And the other day I read this this article about a spiritual cult, you know, where the leaders were extremely abusive to the people, the initiates. And, you know, that would be a false knowing. They were pretending to know. They needed to be puffed up in ego and all those things. And when you know, you don't even need to say, you just show up and you just hold your presence, you hold your light. And you don't need to say, you don't need to be adored by others. As a matter of fact, the greatest success for you is if the people that you work with, whether you have your own business or you volunteer on the side or you do different things, the people you work with, you're uplifting and empowering them so that they can be powerful on their own. Anytime we get into that guru cycle, and I know there's different people, different viewpoints, but for me, guru is not a thing that I aspire to. I don't think that there is someone else that I need to go to get my direct connection. As a matter of fact, I have a knowing that I can just connect directly at any moment. I'm always connected, and I am an incredibly powerful being, but that power also comes with great responsibility, and that responsibility includes making sure that I'm doing things that are in the best interest of everyone involved and not just in my own self-interest. So I hope that this reading resonated with you. I mean, if you feel like you're anywhere on this path and you've just been like, what do I do with all this empath stuff? Like, what do I do with feeling like I'm a light worker? And you know, and do I even have any gifts? And you've just been, you know, kind of doubting yourself. Please take time to realize that the journey begins with one step. You know, you just begin to start tuning in, right? Realizing that it's time to move beyond what you've already seen yourself as, maybe even what other people have seen you as. Because when you go on this journey, you know, some people are going to look at you like, I met someone the other day and they're like, oh, you're really cool. And I was like, here's my card. Why don't you go and take a look at my YouTube readings? I'm doing collective energy readings and, you know, talking about all of this stuff and star seeds. And they came back and they were like, okay. and you know what? I was like, I'm not really concerned whether that person thinks that I'm okay or doesn't think I'm okay. And I'm not embarrassed by the fact that this is what I do. This is what I came here to do. I came here to spread these messages. And so when you get into that place where we stop seeking that external validation, you know, stop trying to fill that hole from within and realize that we have been whole the whole time. Right? We've been whole the whole time. It's just life experiences and the forgetfulness that happens when we come into the birth process, into a physical vessel on this planet. We forget, you know, we forget who we are. And, you know, we're this, and we're this. And by God, we are this too, right? We are this. We are fierce. and empaths are not weak. We're not weak. And we don't have to isolate ourselves. We don't have to hide. The world isn't dangerous. As a matter of fact, we can handle more than most people. We are more resilient. And I say that from a place of deep humility, just a knowing because I've actually walked this path and I've experienced it. So I want to leave you with an invitation. One of the things that I do is I am a co-founder of a beautiful community called 1 Million Empaths. You can look at it at 1millionempaths.com and I'll put the link below. And it's an amazing space where you get to be exactly who you are with other people who also are walking this journey as well. They're unfolding themselves. They're coming into their brilliance. They're healing any kind of void or hole that they felt and really recognizing their wholeness. And then they're stepping forward into their leadership. And because it is time on our planet now to take action. It's time for us to be strong and to be forward and to be out there in whatever way that looks like for you. It could be in your family, it could be in your community, it could be online, it could be writing books, it could be doing any number of things. Your small part and my small part and everyone's small part of making our world a better place and moving us into the era of consciousness. So if this really lights you up, I invite you to come to 1millionempaths.com and check us out. You can come on in and we have bi-weekly Zoom meetings. So you can meet me face-to-face or as close as face-to-face we can get in this day and age. And have deep dive conversations and be seen and heard and grow and learn and help to amplify your work and whatever you're doing in the world. Love to have you inside. Thank you so much for being with me today, and I can't wait to see you in the next reading. Namaste, my friend.